Would you rather be a great athlete or a great player? Which would you choose? A lot of young kids would say, I'm gonna be a great athlete. Well, that's your first mistake. A great athlete gonna give you a lot of oohs and ahs. A great basketball player gonna beat you every night. That's who Larry Bird was. I remember the first time I played against Bird. I'll never forget this. Go to shake his hand. I'm a rookie. I'm playing against the Boston Celtics in the Boston Garden. I go shake, and Larry put both hands behind his back. He wouldn't shake my hand. I said, okay, he's just getting into the game. First play of the game, he said, you don't even belong in the league, Holmes. And he shoots a three. Now, I wasn't mad that he made the three. But I said, there's some bitch this called me Holmes. and he came down and did it again, so I'm pissed, you know. So the next time down, see me on the breakneck pitch, and I jump up and I throw it down on him. I mean, he fouls me. And he said, hey, Rook, I like you. You got heart. He said, but I'm still getting 30 on your ass. I mean, that's who he was. But that was the only time he ever talked trash to me, because he respected me, because he knew that I was gonna keep coming. That really taught me something, you know. If you wasn't prepared to play against guys like that, you got embarrassed. Larry had 60 against us one game in New Orleans. I'll never forget that game. He was so hot, he started shooting threes with his left hand. I mean, it was mind blowing. He had an attitude and the heart of a lion, and he didn't like anybody. He didn't care who you were. And we never shook hands for 13 years. Never shook hands. And it just pushes you to have that same toughness and that same attitude. And we had some epic battles. I ran into him at the Hall of Fame about a month and a half ago. I said, Larry, you know something, man? So all these years competing, and you know, we've known each other, we've never taken a picture. So we took our first picture together. That was special for me, you know. This just showing respect and appreciation for the area you played in. You know, I got one of Magic, I got Moses, Michael. I mean, look, these were the guys I competed against, man. I mean, this is what basketball was all about, so I'm just paying respect to these guys. First time I played against Michael was in college. He was a freshman. And the game went back and forth, close game all the way through. In the last 2 minutes, this young kid named Michael Jordan took over. He won the game for him. And I said, he gonna be a hell of a player, you know, as a freshman. His attitude, his mentality, he was a killer. You know, he wanted to take your heart out. I will never forget this. I never had a player to do this. So I remember us going to Chicago. Now we're in suit and tie. We're sitting in the locker room. We just walked in the locker room. Now remember, Michael Jordan walks into our locker room, suit and tie. I'm like, what the hell is he doing in our locker room? Is he coming to, you know, to the training room? Well, what's going on? So he walks by me, he walks by Kevin. When he get to Randy with me, he said, lace him up, it's gonna be a long night. I'm like, did he just come in our locker room? I didn't know what to say. I was shocked. He had 60 that night. He had 60 points that night. We ended up winning the game, but the scoring performance he put on that night was incredible. Bob Lanier, we had a game where at the end of the game, and I was on the block. So I come to the middle, and they cut me off, and I went back to baseline, and I jumped, and Bob Lanier jumped. I remember turning in the air, and I dunked it on him at the end of the game. He didn't speak to me for 9 years after that. 9 years. I remember after we both retired, and he said, I just started liking you. I like, why? He said, when you dunked on me, and I had to go home, and my kid said, how do you let that little skinny kid dunk? He said, I hated you. I'm like, for real? But that was the emotion and attitude. But now all of us retired, man, we live for these stories.
You know, you don't lose the shot. You may lose the legs, but you don't lose the shot.
My first dunk contest was when they had Larry Nance, Dr. J, Darrell Griffith, and all those guys was in that dunk contest. And I didn't do that well in that dunk contest because I was in awe of who was in it, particularly Dr. J. So I didn't put my best effort because I'm sitting watching one of the greatest to ever do it in the doc. So I was just happy to be in the dunk contest. Now, in the following year, I'm not coming just to participate, I'm coming to win. That's what happened. I appreciate and I respect and love the guys before us, what they was able to create for us. Dr. J, who was, that was my idol, and to have a chance to play against him, and then later in life, ask him to introduce me into the Hall of Fame. Life just came full circle for me. And to have someone that I truly love bringing me into an elite group, I mean, what more could you ask for? To be in a room with some of the greatest players to ever play, you in there with Kareem, you in there with Moses and Bill Russell, and you hear the stories, you're in awe. You're in awe, and all you can do is sit there and listen. Those stories. Then I remember Clyde Drexler and I was in a room with all these guys, and we were the youngest two in the room. And again, we were in awe of the story because Bill Russell commands your attention. And like I said, we were like two giddy kids, and we looked at each other, we were like, hold on, we Hall of Famers too, So, we kind of poked our chests out and we kind of joined in the conversation, but man, that was priceless, man, to be in a room with that many greats and you're just sharing stories. And that's our time to really kind of come together and talk about what we did and what as a league. And even the guys before us, man, you can't buy those conversations. They're priceless.